Do you have a thread box that looks like this? Or maybe even this? Either way, you may find yourself either hunting for a specific thread or untangling that thread almost as much as sewing with it. Thread can be one of the trickiest things to store, especially if you want to sew both at home and on the go. But today, I've got your back. I'll share my favorite space-saving, budget-friendly thread storage solutions, all time-tested in my own studio. Hi, I'm Beth Williams. I share tutorials, tips, and inspiration for quilters. If you find that appealing, please consider subscribing. Now let's dive into thread storage. What factors do we need to consider? Well, we need to protect the thread from direct sunlight, both excessive humidity or excessive dryness, heat, and dust, all of which can shorten the useful lifespan of your thread. And if you have pets in your life, you also need to think about their safety. This little guy once ate some thread out of my sewing machine and ended up with major surgery. We're a lot more cautious now. Let's go back to this box. We've done a lot right since the thread is protected with a lid, but it's also a mess. This would not make for a happy sewing or quilting experience. So I'll show you some solutions. But before we get into my favorite ways to efficiently store large thread collections, let's straighten up this one by securing those loose ends so they don't unravel and tangle. If you're already familiar with these tricks, feel free to fast forward to the next chapter. I've included timestamps in the description. Many spool types, like these, have special features to hold the thread tail securely. I'm demoing a few so you can see how they work. This is an isocord spool. I started with one from Missouri Star Company, and this one is from Madeira. The old way used to be slits cut into the edge of the spool, but some of the spools have pop-up ends. And some of them have partially pop-up ends. I'm using my thumbnail to pry this up. This spool is from YLI, and I can just slide the thread right in, and it holds it. And next, I'm going to grab a Gutermann thread. And again, this has a slot. I can just slide it right in. Works really well. The top of this spool from Superior Threads does pop off, but I just loosened it enough to slide the thread in there. Now we've skipped ahead, and we have a pop-off base from Aurifil, and I just lay the thread across it, pop that back on, and we're all set. Not all of these spools have these handy features, so other options include spool savers, which may also be called spool huggers. And Hugo's amazing tape, which comes in a variety of widths. I'll be using the 1/2-inch wide tape today. And if you're interested in any of these products, I've listed many of them in the description box with links below the video. The spool savers work really well on chubby spools like this. I'm getting it on there. It's nice and secure. Okay, they really stretch, so it's surprising how big they can go. And they also work on really skinny ones like this. I'll get the thread wrapped around there. And let me grab the spool hugger. Now this time, because the spool is so narrow, it's actually going to overlap. Can you see that? It's a little bit of overlap, but it holds it really securely. And it holds everything in between. It's a really little versatile tool. There we go. And last, the one I'm going to show you with this is this fat little spool. There you go. This is another one where the spool hugger is really going to have to stretch. But there it goes. Works perfectly. It works with any kind of thread that I've tried it on, as long as it's not huge. Here we go. This is Hugo's amazing tape. Now, it's not like regular tape. It's not sticky. It only sticks to itself. It won't harm your thread. So I've just cut off a length, and I'm going to wrap it around my spool. You just want it to at least go around the spool and overlap. I like to overlap at least an inch or so. It's okay if it overlaps more than that. Holds it beautifully. This is also good for travel. Now I'm going to cut a longer piece off so that I can show you on that bigger cone. Here we go. It's pretty easy to cut when you're not doing it on camera. All right, so here we go. Here's our bigger cone. Get rid of the extra thread. And I'll just wrap that tape around. There it goes. Easy peasy. Works really well, so that's another good option. Check out how much better our original box looks already, just by securing the thread ends. No more tangled threads and no more mess. And don't forget bobbins. For loose bobbins, these little bobbin clips are a great way to keep the thread on the bobbin. Just make sure to get the right size. There are lots of options for storing bobbins, starting with boxes of various sizes. And I prefer boxes that prevent the loose bobbins from rattling around. So this second box would be the one that I would choose if I chose a box. I actually really like these donuts or round rings to hold my bobbins. I find they hold the bobbins really securely, and I really like that I can see the bobbins clearly. I can see the colors. It's easy to identify and pick out what I need. And in addition to winding my own bobbins, I also love pre-wound bobbins, especially for invisible machine applique and thread painting. But the packaging can be a little unwieldy, as well as a challenge to store efficiently. So I like to pop the bobbins into these flexible rings. It's easy to find what I need. I've written the thread type on the bottom of each ring. And here I have pre-wound bobbins from Wonderfill, Filtech, and Superior Threads. The rings are also very easy to stack and store, which is a big bonus. At home, I like storage that keeps thread dust-free, but still easy to see and grab. In my wide IKEA Alex unit with shallow drawers, these IKEA flatware trays are a perfect fit. They keep my thread from rolling around, and it's easy to sort the thread by color or type. But in my narrow Alex unit, which has deeper drawers, the flatware trays aren't as efficient. So I like that I can store threads either standing upright or lying on their side, but there's still a lot of wasted space. That's where I bring in the Dollar Tree drawer organizers. They're sturdy enough to stack as long as the spools are consistent in size, and they can be a real game changer. These organizers come in 2 different sizes, but I use the longest one the most. And if you have a smaller drawer that you're putting things in, you might find the smaller one helpful, but you're going to see the longer ones in mine. And I'm going to name the thread brands just so you have a size reference. We've got Mettler and Gutermit and YLI and Orfil and Isacord. I'm not sure what else is in there. I think I got them all. And I'm going to bring out some other ones there. I've got 3 boxes deep of sulky threads. You can see how much space that's going to save me. And let me pull over some other ones. Here I've got 4 boxes deep of my Orfil cotton threads. Love this. Very small footprint, but it's still easy for me to find what I need. And lastly, here we've got some from Wonderfill. Again, fits perfectly. And these are some chunkier spools from YLI. Again, works just great. And this is how they look in my narrow IKEA Alex unit. A much better use of the space. Now some threads are just a little too long to fit in the narrow organizers. So this is my next favorite size from the same collection of sturdy drawer organizers from Dollar Tree. They work just great for the longer spools from Wonderfill, as well as for these other spools. Let me grab the bin. These are from Superior Threads, and you can see they fit perfectly. And these are from Sulky. Again, beautiful fit. And here we have some more spools of the cotton. And check out how neatly these fit in my drawer. Just perfect. They're also stackable, so there's no wasted space. Now, these Dollar Tree baskets are not as sturdy as the drawer organizers, but they're another favorite of mine for grouping threads by color or fiber type, particularly for the cones or spools with wider bases that don't fit well in the narrow organizers. Here I have some of my isocord threads and some of my glide threads and some of my Wonderfill specialty threads. I can just pull out the basket I need when I'm working, and they're also stackable if you're careful. Now, I'm not traveling to teach right now, but having taught across North America at major shows, guilds, and retreats, I do know how valuable portable storage can be. Even when you're just heading to a local class, your friend's house, or a quilting retreat, the right storage can save you a lot of frustration. Plastic thread boxes can be a lifesaver. I especially like the ones with clear lids and dividers. You can see everything at a glance, and the latches keep the spools secure. I've had this one for a couple of decades. It was originally sold as a carrier for toy Matchbox cars, but it was perfect for carrying the thread back and forth to the beginner sewing classes that Connor and I used to teach together. But always check the dimensions first, as spools with very wide bases may not fit into these compartments. And if you want to go a little fancier, Art Bin makes specialized thread satchels and cone trays which can accommodate spools of varying sizes. Here's a fun solution for bobbins on the go. Check out how this set works. We'll start by securing the thread end. Since the end of this spool pops off, I could use that, but I'm going to use the spool saver instead. Slide that on there. There. Next, I'll use the bobbin clip to keep the bobbin secure. Keep the thread from coming off. Slide that on there. And then I'll use that long clip. I'll guide it through the bobbin and then through the center of the spool, and it will expand to fit. For a good fit, it's secure, ready for class or travel, or to sit in your drawer. Either way. So whether you're sewing at home or packing for a class or retreat, you don't need fancy, expensive storage to keep your threads tidy and ready to go. If you found these tips helpful, you may enjoy my storage, display, and studio organization for quilters playlist. It's full of creative ways to make your quilting space work better for you. And don't forget to subscribe for new quilting videos every week. Thanks so much for watching, and happy quilting.